Hi there, Omar here for Awesome SVGs. Today, I'll show you how to create pages for any size happy planner with your Cricut machine. First of all, sorry for the long absence. I know it's been a while since my last post. I've been very busy with family and work, and all the footage in this video took forever to make. So let's get to it. I have always loved planners. It all started back in 1990 when I was an exchange student in the States. I used a planner as a diary to keep track of the experience. I filled it with souvenirs, movie tickets, stickers, and all sorts of scrap keepsakes I could fit in it. I also kept every letter I received, but that's a whole different story. I'm so glad I did this. It is a very fun and important testimony of my youthful adventure, if you might call it that. From then on, I've always kept a notebook in my bag, and even though I keep a lot of info on my phone nowadays, I guess most of you do too, I try to consciously force myself to take notes by hand. I don't know, there's something special and maybe almost magical in the feel of the pen against the paper. Nowadays, I use a few different notebooks for different activities. I use a blue Midori Traveler's Notebook for work. This is my favorite planner for traveling and also for work, mostly to create to-do lists. These notebooks are slick and professional looking covers that will last you a lifetime. You can change and interchange the different booklets that you can put in them. I also use a traveler's notebook as a travel journal. I love that it's compact and the quality of the paper is amazing and can take various mediums. I use it with colored pencils, watercolors, markers. The paper kind of does warp a little bit with watercolors and colored pencils if you use them pressing very hard against the paper, but I love the volume and the worn feel it provides to the paper. For my art and sewing projects, my YouTube scripts, my blog posts, I usually keep a larger sketchbook handy. I've had many in the last couple of years. Some of them I have bought, some of them I have made, and they all have been great in their own way. But at the same time, I feel none have fulfilled all my creative needs. Whether paper is too thick to make notes or too thin to watercolor and sketch on it, I think I'm always in need of a different surface in that one book. That's why when I found about happy planners and the binding system they have, I felt they were the solution I was looking for to keep everything in one place. My sketches, my watercolor heavy cardstock, the alcohol marker friendly cardstock, really thin paper, photo sleeves, and much more. They use a disc binding system that keeps pages together and at the same time allows for extremely easy removing, adding, and rearranging of the pages in the notebook. You can just take a page and pull it from the book and it will detach without tearing. This is thanks to the binding holes that have this mushroom-like shape that extends all the way to the edge of the page and match the profile of the discs as you can see here. You can use higher paper weights to create dividers and add tabs for simple, effective, and amazing organization of your notes, sketches, art pages, and so on. Pages from smaller size planners fit the larger ones since the disc separations are constant throughout the different versions. The binding hole sizes are also the same for all planner sizes. You can buy discs separately, and as far as I know, they are made either of plastic or shiny aluminum in different colors. Just make sure you buy the right diameter or number of discs for the page and notebook size you want to create. All Happy Planner brand discs have a hard cutout in the center. I am working on a way to change this to fit my mood because I'm not that much of a hard kind of guy. Now, to create pages for your planners, you can design your own or maybe buy templates online. There are really no rules when drafting your page layout. You can really make it your own. However, if you want to take advantage of pre-made Happy Planner products on your pages, maybe it's better to stick to the manufacturer's box's dimensions. I will link to my Etsy store where you can find standard blank pages that you can use as templates to create your own designs. The usual way to add custom pages to your planners is once you have chosen your style or your design, you can print those pages and make the holes using a Happy Planner punch. This is the most common and fastest way to do it, but punches take a lot of space, they are heavy, and they can be very expensive. So if you already have a Cricut machine, there's no need to go out and buy a punch to start using Happy Planners. When creating pages with your cutting machine, it's best to cut them first and then print them. Otherwise, it's difficult to align the front and the back of the design perfectly on the page. Personally, I haven't had any problems printing in my Brother laser printer or in my Canon Pixma 7200 inkjet printer using pre-cut paper. But you should give it a try first to see if the paper feeding mechanism of your printer doesn't jam with the irregular cut paper edge. So cut only a few pages first and test them to see if this method works for you. Like I always do, I will provide the blank SVG files for you to cut any of the 3 sizes pages, and there's also a list of supplies I use throughout the video down in the video description below in case you want to check them out. So head over to www.awesomesvgs.com to download the files and get a little bit more information. When cutting your pages from a piece of paper or cardstock that is larger than the page you're creating, you just need to place the paper on your mat so that the cut lines fall within your material. Now to show you what I mean, here I have all 3 SVG sizes loaded in Design Space. These are just regular pages. They are not dividers or covers. They don't have tabs or anything. I also added the name of each size to each of the SVG files, just so you knew which one I was talking about. Okay, so if you hit Make It in Design Space, you will see that for the Classic, you will be able to cut it from a letter size sheet of paper. You can reposition those cut lines within the boundaries of that sheet of paper. For the mini size planner, you will also be given the option to cut it from an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. That's the letter size paper. Like before, you'll be able to reposition that page within the boundaries of that letter size paper. And if you rotate that shape 90 degrees and cut 2 copies and move it to the same mat, you'll be able to cut 2 pages from one single 8.5 by 11 inches sheet of paper. You can cut up to 2 pages for the mini size planner. And you can cut only 1 page for the classic size planner. The big Happy Planner SVG files provided, on the other hand, can be used to cut dividers and covers from paper larger than 8.5 by 11. I would recommend to use at least a 9.5 by 12 inches heavy cardstock for the dividers and covers. To do this is really no biggie, since all the cut lines are within the boundaries of the larger paper sheet. The problem presents itself when you only want to cut the binding holes on a pre-cut sheet of paper the way punches do. This is what happens when you have letter-size sheets of paper, which is the size of the big Happy Planner, and you want to put them whole on your planner without sizing them down. Here's where what I've called edge targeting method comes into place. What this technique does basically is tell you where on your mat to place your 8.5 by 11 inches sheet of paper so your machine accurately cuts the holes in it to be perfectly aligned with the rest of the pages that are on your planner. In other words, it allows your machine to locate the edge of the paper and cut only the binding holes, leaving all other edges untouched. It is a method that uses the writing and the cutting features of your machine, so make sure to have a marker handy. Like I said before, head over to www.awesomesvgs.com and download the file for this technique, and then upload the SVG file named Big Happy Planner Edge Targeting Technique. Then place this SVG file on your canvas and Cricut design space. You will see two layers here. The top one is the reference layer and the bottom one is your cutting layer. Select the top layer and change the layer attributes to right. Then select the whole thing and click on Attach at the bottom of the right panel. This will place your reference and cutting lines on the same mat. And that's the only thing you have to do for this. Now click on Make It and then click on Continue. Place your marker in your machine's pen holder. Today I'm using an American Crafts Slick Writer that, by the way, fits the pen adapter perfectly. Make sure to use a contrasting color so you can see it on your mat. I am using the Cricut Maker, but you can do it with any other Cricut machine. Load your mat on your machine without any material on. You will need for your marker to write directly on your mat. Don't worry, you'll be able to delete the marks later. I'll tell you how. Now hit the Go button and your machine will start writing and will make 4 marks that represent the corners of a letter size page. Once your machine finishes making the 4 marks, it will then move to the top right of the mat and make a small mark. This tiny line is just so the mat goes back to the starting position for you to place your material on. At this point, press the pause button to stop your machine. Do not eject the mat. This is very important. You will need for your machine to then start cutting. Place your sheet of paper aligning the corners with the reference marks you just drew. Remember that the binding holes are cut on the edge closest to the machine body, so orient your paper accordingly. Burnish the edge that will be cut against the mat with the help of a scraper tool or a bone folder. This will help your machine to make a cleaner cut without tearing the edge of the paper. There is no need to burnish the rest of the page, but I always like to use a small piece of masking tape or washi tape to secure the page in place. Now hit the Go button and watch the magic happen. Your machine will cut each of the 11 holes and then will go to the top right corner of the mat to return to its starting position so you can remove the page. Do not eject the mat if you want to keep cutting more pages. Keep your mat and your machine and just carefully peel off the paper from the mat. You can use a scraper tool to remove the binding hole bits. You can now remove the marker from your machine. It won't be needed again as long as the mat stays in the machine and you don't eject it. If you want to cut a second page, place a new sheet of paper and cut again. You don't need to put your marker back on, and there's no need for you to pause your machine this time either. Your machine will write without a marker and then cut the holes. Do this as many times as sheets you need. Then print your pages and add them to your planner. Because there is no guarantee that you will place your mat in the exact same position you did before, once you have ejected the mat, you should do the process all over again, including writing the reference marks, thus making sure the holes are cut precisely on the sheet of paper. Once you're done, you can erase the marks using an alcohol pad to make sure they aren't transferred to your future materials that you put on your mat. And that's it. It's very simple. Now I've experimented creating a full year planner that will soon be available on my Etsy shop for you to purchase. And during testing, these are my findings. Number 1, I would recommend to use 32-pound paper for your regular planner pages and at least 80 to 110-pound cardstock for your dividers and covers. Number 2 is laminating your covers. This is a great way to protect them from wearing out. Just make sure to feed it through your laminator several times, flipping it over in between, since thicker cardstock prevents the heat of your laminator from spreading evenly on the laminating pouch. So just give it a couple of goes and feed it a couple of times and make sure the laminating pouch is adhered completely to your cover material. And number 3, finally, if you're going to print several pages, try feeding them manually to your printer and print one side at a time to prevent the feeding rollers from your printer from jamming or grabbing more than one page at a time from the paper tray. So do not put the whole stack of sheets on your printer and leave it alone. Feed them one at a time. And that's it, guys. That's how you create pages for your happy planners. Now, I know this video is not as long as the other ones, but it's still very long. I just wanted to give you a full insight as of why I love this system so much and how to take advantage of your Cricut for your planning needs. Remember that the free SVG file can be downloaded at www.awesomesvgs.com, so don't forget to visit for more info and other custom-made free files if you want to look around. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more exclusive content. Remember to hit the bell icon next to the subscribe button to be notified when a new video is posted, so you're the first one to find out about it. Here are a couple of videos you might be interested in. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope to see you again very soon. Bye-bye.